Ya tú probaste la otra vez, por eso sabes que tú estás rico, que estás rico, que estás rico. Tú sabes que tú estás rico, que estás rico, que tú estás rico. Tú sabes que tú estás rico.
Hola, yeah, it's the Prince in the unmarked car with the tents. Mark Anthony with the new anthem. Yeah, I know, it's a little intense. Ferragamo on the collar, we gon' mash a throttle in Miami Harbor. Girl, you want me like a shadow? You make a move, make it matter. Hey now, well I guess we can play now. Blend my Philly way now with your Latina sway now. Sacude tu cadera, always taking pictures, laughing, blowing kisses. I think you're delicious. Mark, what this is?
Está rico, está rico, está rico. Tú sabes que esto está rico, está rico, esto está rico. Tú sabes.
Yeah, that's right, that's right, that's right. Break it on down a little bit, break it on down. Yeah, good morning, peace and love. Welcome to the Peace of the Morning Show. This is the Funky Friday right here at VOXWAV.com. This is Darius A. Stanton live. That's right. We cranked that Puerto Rico, that new Will Smith joint, just because today also is celebrating Latin Hispanic Heritage Month. That's right. Hey, so listen, it's time to vote. The whole show today is dedicated to voting, early voting. Make sure you get out there. When we come back, we're going to get right into it. Where we going, how we going to do it, how many people will get out to the polls. Come on, y'all. It's time to vote. Funky Friday, baby. Come on. Friday, baby. The devil's after you. He wants to steal your soul. Who you voting for? Who you voting for?
He wants you off this planet so he can take control. Yeah. He'll have you smoking cigarettes, taking drugs, and drinking alcohol. He'll steal your mind, make you forget, take your divine until the day you fall. Yeah.
All right, we ready to break it on down.
You know, he's after you.
All right, we're breaking it on down. It's time to roll. It's time to vote. What you got going on today? Are you voting? Are you early voting? Have you stood in line? Have you taken out the time to make sure that 25 other people are voting with you? What have you done to make sure that our election results this midterm is the greatest midterm turnout ever in the history of politics in the United States of America? We have so many things at stake. We have so many things that are going on right now. We need our undivided, focused attention on making sure, number one, that people are already going to the polls off the break. Put numbers in there like we've never seen. Don't allow time to get you. Don't allow the voter suppression that's been taking place across the country to get in the way of making sure that we go out and vote. Now, what does vote do? Because some people question whether or not I should even cast my vote. You know, last election, the presidential election, the president currently had less votes, less popular votes, meaning votes that were cast, than the actual person who won, which was Hillary. She had more votes than Donald Trump. However, the Electoral College, the way it's set up, he got the votes in the key states, which allowed him to take the Electoral College, which allowed him to secure the presidency. Now, your vote is important, number one, because people died for it. people put energy into it. Women, men died trying to vote, trying to push the envelope. People were hung, people were killed, people were stabbed, people were shot, you name it. Taken from their families for encouraging people to vote. So there's a lot of energy. You know, people say they watch the Peace in the Morning show because of the energy. Well, the energy that people put their blood, sweat, and tears. When people put their blood, sweat, and tears into something, they put a lot of energy in that. That's our ancestors. They put a lot of energy in making sure that people had a chance to communicate and voice their opinion. So if nothing else but for your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and the people who were brought here as slaves, and the people who were here already who had their land taken from them, all the people who fought for something just, who fought for something right, get up and cast that vote. Put that energy into the process. And let's just don't do it blindly. Don't do it blindly, and don't do it just for yourself. Think about that. Think about the importance of voting not only for yourself, but for your generations. See, one of the challenges that we have with our vote and our energy is that we are placing it in instances and situations, myself included, where we don't have time. So we got to redirect that and focus up. You know, on the short term, people say, I'm going to vote for this person because I think it'll help my business. Will you help your business immediately? Will you help your business short term? Will it help your business long term? And will that help your family and community? Yes, you have to be mindful of that because we do not live on an island. We live with other people. We are tied and connected to other energies. And what happens with us is going to impact our children, our families, our communities for decades to come. I'll give you a prime example. Right now in the United States of America, the Supreme Court has a judge on it who would not even shake a man's hand who just lost his daughter and is only fighting for tighter gun laws because he witnessed his family be decimated and his entire community by a gunman who walked into a school and opened fire. Supreme Court judge now appointed Kavanaugh would not shake the man's hand in a congressional hearing. For what? Turned around and walked away. So take aside the fact that he was, accused of sexual harassment, sexual assault, and those things. I'm not belittling those things. They were things that were accused of him. However, the thing that we witnessed was him as a man, a professional, a judge, not shake another man's hand. Take it to another level. He wasn't able to keep his cool and maintain his cool under pressure when you're going to be in the position of judging people, but you can't be in the position to be judged. So think about that in your state. Are you in Florida where the governor called the black candidate there, the Republican governor called the black candidate there a monkey not even a week after he won? In Georgia, the candidate there, the Republican candidate, is also in charge of the state. He's the state's attorney, the attorney general for the state, in charge of counting and making sure that people's registrations and for votes are in. They already have over 50,000 votes that they have kind of just people who, not votes, but people's registrations that are kind of hanging in the ballots that he's in charge of. And this is African-American woman, Stacey Abrams, running as governor, neck and neck, who's fighting for dealing with incarceration of African-American children and boys, who's fighting for health care, who's fighting for education, who's fighting for business, for small businesses. Check out our record. And here in Maryland, the 2020 election here in Maryland, the 2020 census here in Maryland and around the country is going to dictate where resources are, how much money is placed where, what type of programs are kept in place, like Head Start, that are very, very, very vital. If you look at Head Start's record and the evaluation that was done on Head Start, children that participate in Head Start do far much better than their peers that did not go to Head Start. Their families are doing better. Latino families are better educated. African American families are doing better from a health perspective and employment as a result of their children participating in Head Start. So there's proof that this program works. But based on the census, which is going to be controlled by who's in charge to help push that process and make sure that things are done properly and things are counted accurately, we need to make sure that the governor there is going to have the people's best interests at heart. Another key component about the 2020 election here in Maryland for governor. Also, during this term, redistricting will take place. That's when you draw the lines to determine where seats are and the populace. So African-American jurisdictions, largely white jurisdictions, Latino jurisdictions, all of those which will give you a fair, balanced representation of people in the state house. Now, if you have somebody who is for a particular group of people, you can rest assured your best interest is not going to be acknowledged. And think about what's happening all over the country in terms of redrafting precincts where people vote, but also the suppression, what they're doing to make people be able to come out and vote. You got to show ID. In some places, if you've been arrested, if you had a record, you still can't vote. In Maryland, to Governor Hogan's credit, he did allow that bill to go through. Shout out to the Black Caucus for pushing that through. Legislative Black Caucus here in the state of Maryland to make sure that that those who had been incarcerated and had records in the past could come out and then register to vote. They did their time, done. You can still run for office. You should be able to vote. Makes sense to me, but a lot of states are not doing that. And then the last and final thing that I think is also critically important here in the state of Maryland, the next governor will appoint 3 to 4 appellate court judges. Those are state Supreme Court judges. Just like the federal government has a Supreme Court, so does the state have a Supreme Court. We need to make sure that those judges are fair, period, and not just skewed to one particular side. And the only way to do that is to make sure that somebody that has people over politics, who has principle over profits, is elected. And so after doing our research, looking at what our current governor has done here in the state of Maryland, looking at what's transpired, the Peace in the Morning show is recommending, and we think based on all of the research that we've done, that Ben Jealous is the best person to move forward and vote for in the state of Maryland in 2018. So we just watched the Baltimore Sun. They endorsed Governor Hogan. And the things that they brought out for Governor Hogan were that he was able to manage politics. He did a great job managing the politics of the state. But when it comes down to making sure that the needle moved with regard to our communities, with regard to our schools, to take money out of one resource and put it in another without trying to fix the situation in the school system itself, to me, is very short-sighted. And when you look at somebody who you not just talking business and the developer and making sure that folks in real estate, are doing well, and the reinvestment in Baltimore City is largely around the real estate and the development. But in Ben Jealous, you have somebody who is focused on the middle class, is focused on making sure that people who are in the lower income brackets get boosted up, that we keep pace with our neighboring states in terms of revenue generation, in terms of business innovation, in terms of ideas and being able to build Maryland from the ground up. So the Peace in the Morning show is recommending that you go out and support Ben Jealous for governor. Now, you also have a number of congressional districts, votes that are taking place, senatorial votes, elections that are taking place. You need to get out there. Go vote, do your homework, do your research. Make sure you study what people have done while they're in office, what they're running for the first time, what have they done leading up to that. How soon was it? Was it 3 to 4 years? where they just started to get involved in the community and put their name out there because they wanted to run for office, or were they been dedicated and, you know, in whatever craft or whatever field they were focused, and in that space they were working on building people, they were working on building communities, they were working on building leaders, they were working on making sure that things adjust in whatever environment that they were in. Those are the kind of people that you want to put into office. But after you put them in office, you got to stay on it. You have to stay on it. We have to hold people accountable. And so 25, that's the number. 25. Now, that's a small number, but that's the number. And the 25 number represents the people that we want you to write down and make sure from today until Election Day they go out and vote. And you check their name off, and you call them up and say, hey, I just want to make sure you're going to vote. I already voted. Check. If they haven't voted, call them back. Call them all the way up until Election Day, and then make sure you get your 25. And not just locally, but around the country. We need this push. Positivity must rule. Love must overrule all of this negativity, all of these ugly things that we're seeing in the media, these attacks on people. The people in Honduras, great example. You have people who are running literally with the clothes on their back, whatever they can carry, and their children, going for miles, hundreds of miles, walking with nothing. They're not just leaving to come to America or somewhere else because they just think America's just the greatest thing since sliced bread. They just think that maybe if they get across the American line, they may not be blooded or killed in the street. Do you know how many women in Latin American countries right now are being killed and slaughtered in the street, or being snatched up as sex slaves and then killed? Do you know how many? Do you have any idea? Just Google it. Just Google it. Women found in Latin America, women being slaughtered in Latin America. Just look at the numbers. The drug situation is so bad. The police are on the take. The government is on the take. The gang members run it. The drug dealers run it. Running these cities and countries. In Honduras' case, the violence is off the hook. And so these people are running and fleeing, and our response to that is, we're going to meet you at the border with the military? How about let's find out what we can do to help stabilize your country? Or maybe that doesn't have, it's not in our best interest. Well, these are the kinds of things you need to be thinking about when you think about who you're going to put into Congress. Are they going to support that kind of policy? Are we going to allow what's going on in Congress to continue? Or are we going to take a stand and put people in Congress who have the backbone to stand alone or stand with other people to make sure that people are treated properly, people are treated fairly, regardless of the color of their skin, regardless of their sex, regardless of where they come from, the economic standard, but just because they are a human being in itself. It's time to vote. So we're going to crank it up a little bit. It's time for us to get up out of here. Just a little short Funky Friday to let you know how important it is to get up, let's get back down. Now, the get back down part, I'm going to tell you when we come up right back from this quick break. We're going to funk it up a little bit on the Piece of the Morning Show. I want to thank my good brother, Ron Jackson, who has been supporting us for this ride. Brother Rolling Bubba Grimes, my brother, peace to you. Peace in the morning. Thank you so much for your support. DC Nightlife, what's up? Tunnel Vision, what's happening? That's right, J Pope Media. Hey, Jonathan Pope, happy solar return, brother. Hey. Oh, come on, y'all. That's right, Funky Friday, baby. Early voting. It's time to vote. Yeah, so we're going to go to vote. We're going to go to vote. That's right. Go to vote. Go to vote.
Now what you gonna do?
Go to vote.
Do you wanna get up, y'all?
Go to vote.
Now what you gonna do?
Go to vote.
Have to take your height, y'all.
Go to vote.
Now what you gonna do?
Go to vote.
Say what?
Go to vote. Hit it.
Scream in the dark, and you're on the floor. If you're having a real good time. Hello. Everybody is feeling fine. We got a brand new dance to try to do. Every call to gas and smile. All you gotta do is just raise your hand and listen for that call. Slow rock. Let's get small, girl. Let's get small.
vote. Come on, come on. Go to vote. 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 Come on. Go to vote. Hit it. Right, y'all. The Peace in the Morning Show saying go to vote. Darius A. Stanton signing out. We love you. God bless you. Have a funky Friday and a good old weekend. And make sure, like Trouble Funk said, ow. Go to vote, baby. Peace in the morning. Shout out to all my Latino sisters and brothers. Hispanic Heritage Month. We're going to bring you a show next month to focus on Hispanic heritage. Give it all the just due. You're not going to celebrate it just 1 month. You know what I mean? That's right. Go to vote. 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 Peace. Go to vote.